Welcome, everyone. Glad to see you are here. Today, we have the privilege of listening to Virginia Bosserman, who was our Pathways guru. She helped launch it here for District 30, and she is very adept and can help us all understand how to actually go through and get people credit for the levels that they've attained. So they've done all the work. They've put in their speeches, etc. And now they're getting a point to where they got to get credit. So just doing the work isn't enough. You as VPEs, presidents, and secretaries have to go into Basecamp and actually approve it. And at least for the time being, you have to go in a second time into the website and approve it a second time. Now, this will change in the future, but I'm going to let Virginia talk about that a little bit more. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Virginia. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. This session is going to be all about submitting a level completion in Pathways. And then, as Jim said, again, in Club Central, because that is currently the way it's done.
You're there.
Now you can see it?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. So there we go. All right. So as I said, when you sign into Toastmasters, you're going to get the blue now. And what you want to do is you want to go to Basecamp, because that's where we do everything, right? We do everything in Basecamp, and you are a Basecamp manager. If you're a president, if you're a club vice president of education, or if you are the club secretary. And so what you're going to do is you're going to click that. And the first thing it's going to do is it's going to verify the club that you are representing in doing this task. Now, I happen to be in 3 clubs, so I have to be very careful because I want to be able to find the right members. And as you can see here, select the club you would like to interact with as a Basecamp manager. That's not what we're doing right now, and that's where a lot of people get tripped up. What we're going to do right now is we're going to interact as a Basecamp manager. So first I'm going to pick my club where I'm a Basecamp manager, and that would be the Mount Prospect Club. Okay. Now these were the 3 boxes you saw before. And now it says, select the club you would like to interact with as a Basecamp manager. So that's where a lot of people get tripped up. They see this, they click the club. But that's if you're going to go and work in your path and do your projects. You want to scroll down and go to where you're going to be a Basecamp manager. So that's what I did. And I'm representing the Mount Prospect Club. Then you get this screen. And there are several things you can do. Today, we want to see if we have any pending requests. Typically, you will get an email from Toastmasters International as a Basecamp manager. Again, if you're the president of the club, if you're the vice president of education, or if you're the secretary. But sometimes those get lost in our emails, right? And you may periodically, when you're going out doing your things, you might want to check just in case, or if somebody says, I submitted a request and you haven't seen it, just click here. And you'll see a pending request. Now, this is a different color. These are the old screens. I didn't happen to have anybody that had a pending request right now. So we're going to having to use an old screen, but it will tell you the person's name and their club and even their officer role. I forgot about that. I don't know why it does, but it does. And this is a level 1 completion for motivational strategies. Okay. And you either have the option of approving it. You're going to click the green check mark if you approve it. If you are thinking, wait a minute, this person had, Martin's only given his icebreaker speech. How is he doing a level completion? You might reject it and contact Martin and ask him what speeches he has completed. Maybe he completed, maybe he's in 2 clubs. Maybe you're in a community club with him and he's in a corporate club and he did the other speeches at his other club. So sometimes you do have to investigate, especially when people are doing multiple things. I have approved the request, and then I can put a note in there. I want to put that I approved it so that the other base camp managers who also got the email saying that this person has submitted a request will be able to see that it has been done by me, in case they're wondering. Okay? And then you're going to click submit. That is all you have to do at that point, except that's all you have to do in Pathways. What you need to now do is go back into Club Central. Now, when the new system is up and running, I have been told by those in charge that that will go away. That once you approve it in Pathways, you won't have to do this. But that could be 3 months. And you can have a lot of people completing levels in that time. So now you have to do the 2-step process and you need to go into Club Central. Now, you know Club Central, that's where you go and do everything. That's where you run reports on your membership. That's where you look and see who of your members are in Pathways and do you have any that are not. So you go into Club Central. And again, this is an old version of it because I didn't have anybody. But this is, so this is going to be blue now. And these are your options. You can go into Club Central. You can learn more about the club officer roles, or if you're new to a role and you got a little confused at the TLI, you can go into the club officer tutorial. But for this case, we're going into Club Central. Now, again, if you're in more than one club, they will ask you which club are you representing. So in this case, I'm a base camp manager in 2 clubs, so I have to pick my club. If you're only in one club, you won't get that. And then right at the top is Submit Education Awards. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to click on that. And you will get the list of all your members. So you're going to select the member who has the award. And then you're going to select the path and the level that they have completed. Now, if they work for a company where they want their boss to see, especially if they're in a corporate club, they may want their boss to see because maybe the company pays their dues for them or something. You can click yes, and then it will pop up with asking for the information. In this case, the person's only in my community club, and I will select no. I would just want you to review before you submit it. That is I'm the person who has submitted. Oh, this was done at the very top here. Oh, shoot. Sorry. See how it says, welcome, Jerry? That was the person, because I didn't have anybody. I had something that was submitted. So he was the one actually doing it. And I was just doing the screenshots. And so this was when I finished engaging humor. Okay. And then you're going to submit award. And you're going to get a confirmation. So make sure you get that confirmation. And then if you have another award to do, you can go back to Club Central, you can submit another award, or you can exit out of it and just go and do other work that you have to do maybe in your own path, right? Now, I did want to show you one other thing is might want to print some certificates. And you might not, in my club, we don't do it every time somebody does it. At the end of the Toastmaster year, we print out the certificates from all the people that have completed levels, and we do a little award ceremony and what we're doing is we're recognizing the people that contributed to us becoming President's Distinguished. My club is already President's Distinguished, but we will do that at the end of our year. So, wait a minute, where am I? Okay. So you're going to go into your normal base camp, right? And you're going to select level completion overview. Let's move this. Now here you can see pending requests. Remember how we did that before? You can see member progress. You can run a report to see how your members are doing. And then, of course, there are Basecamp Manager tutorials that you can view. But I want to go into member progress, and I want to see if anybody has completed any awards lately. And I have 2 people who have completed awards. One happens to be me, and one happens to be another member. So that member has completed level 1. So way to go, Zach. You know, he's a newer member and he has already completed level 1. So I want to print a certificate for him because that's an accomplishment, especially since he has a 3-year-old and another baby on the way. And this is what comes out. Now, I don't sign it. It's already been signed by our international president and our CEO of Toastmasters. So I think that's pretty cool. You might want to do that and print those out and bring them to the meetings. Okay? And that is it for approving and submitting educational awards. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
For the approving the pending request, does it have to be submitted by the speaker initially after they gave a speech? So if someone gave a speech last week, would they need to go into Toastmasters and kind of apply, quote unquote?
Not that particular speech. It's when they finish the level. So let me show this again.
As you're pulling it up, let me comment to Jack. I think he's asking a slightly different question. As they're completing the various steps in their path, they're going through and they're clicking down as they're going through. It'll say, I've completed this step, and it'll take you to the next step if you're going through the system. So you're going through, and then when you get to the very end, there'll be a question saying, have you completed the last thing? There's like a post questionnaire that you have, and maybe she's going to show that. And then at that point, it says submit to your vice president education. And that's when it sends it over to the VPE and to the president and secretary. It becomes available in the system, if you will. And so,
Okay.
but the VPE will get a notice saying that John Doe has completed it's pending an action by you as the VPE to take action to approve them.
So the report that I ran shows all the projects that he did. See how they're all marked completed? Okay.
Yes.
So that's one way that I, as the Basecamp manager, can verify that he has done them all. And what I have noticed with a couple of our new members is they're not going through all the steps in pathways. Once they read up on, they take the pre-assessment, they go through all the steps and all the ideas as to how to do the project and all of that. And then they give the project and they think they're done. And I have to remind them that they have to go back in and do the post-assessment. And that says, at first you could say, I'm very uncomfortable getting up and speaking in front of other people. Well, maybe they got a pleasant surprise. Maybe they weren't as nervous this time. Okay. They're thinking back to when they gave their icebreaker, but now they've given a couple of speeches. They've been at the meetings. They're comfortable with their members. It was kind of fun to get up there and talk about their favorite hobby or, whatever. So that's what sometimes happens, is that people don't go back in and go through those steps. If they don't take that post survey, don't take the pre-survey and the post survey, it won't move to the other section in the computer. And that's what makes it possible for them to submit their level request. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I do, Jim, I don't know if we have time. I do have another presentation that shows more about the actual goings on in Pathways. Do you want to go through that real quick, and maybe that'll help, Jack?
That could be good too. I just have 2 questions / comments here.
Okay.
So I'm going to pose the question is, you mentioned previously that, we have the current system and you think it's going to be in 2 to 3 months. Why are we going through and talking about the current system when it's going to change? I have an answer for that, but I just want to see what your thoughts are.
Because members are constantly working in the program and they want to get recognition. And especially, I know I've had at one of my clubs, I've had someone from the Baxter Club come and speak at my community club because he needed to finish level 2 so that he could compete in his club's international speech contest.
That's the point I was going to raise.
Right now is a big deal, right? So if you're going to compete in the humorous speech contest, as long as you're a member in good standing and your club is in good standing, you're good to go. But if you want to compete in the international speech contest, you have to have completed 2 levels in any path, not level 1 in 2 paths, 2 levels in any path. And then what happens is we can run a report. Remember, I showed you that report, and whoever my contestants are, I can verify that they have completed those levels. Okay.
And Jack, why that's important is, even if the member in fact completed all the work that they did themselves, and this is something we alluded to in the very beginning, unless they actually you as an officer goes into the system and actually marks them as having been completed in both places, not just one, but in both places, Toastmasters Internationals doesn't recognize that they've completed those 2 paths, and they would be disqualified. So that's why it's important to make sure that, especially if you have people in your club that want to compete in the international speech contest, to make sure that they've got their 2 levels. And if they've done the work, make sure that they've gotten that registered in, that you will go into the system and make sure that they get approval in both places. And again, that's what the emphasis here is. Yes, later on it'll be there, but that'll be beyond the point in time when the contest occurs. So we want to make sure that people understand they got to get their work in, and it has to be approved. Thank you.
Okay.
There was one other question or comment that I had. You can go ahead and
Yes.
pull up the other stuff. And
Okay.
you had mentioned before that you had yourself on there and then Jerry had approved for you. Why can you not approve it yourself?
First of all, I don't think the system would allow it. I've never
is
tried to. I just don't think I don't think it's good form. I think someone else should approve what I have done. I should not approve what I have done. I suppose if it was an emergency and there were no other officers and the club needed the credit, fine. But I honestly don't know if the system would allow it.
My
I
understanding is
don't
the
believe
system
it
does
would.
not allow it.
Okay, I've never tried, so I don't know. Okay.